Hi guys, welcome back to Nico Talks Hockey. Today I want to do a bit more of a fun video. I want to talk about my favorite player from every single NHL team. So I've talked a little bit about some of my favorite players, what makes my favorite player, like my favorite player in all time, I think is Marian Hossa of the Chicago Blackhawks. Um, one of my favorite current players, Alexander Barkov. I've talked about that before. What makes me really like a player? I think, well, you have to have a ton of compete level. You have to bring passion and leadership to every single game in, game out. If you're really defensively responsible, I think that really makes me like your game. Yeah, like Jacob Slavin is like one of my favorite players because of his defensive responsibility. I think that it just shows, maturity and being able to do what's best for the team. Maybe if it's not the most flashy, I think it really appeals to me. If I know, if I've seen things off the ice, if I've seen interviews that show that you're a really, respectful person and you are mature and not conceited, and you do well with the fans. I think that is all very helpful to, and it just makes me really like you as a player. So I'm going to try to go quickly through these. I know there's 32 teams to get through, so I won't explain, in detail, and very much detail, every single pick here, but we'll just go through it here. So starting with the Anaheim Ducks, my favorite player is Mason McTavish. He's just really exciting as a young player, just super excited. I think, full disclosure, if anyone's played the Modern Warfare games growing up, having the name Soap McTavish, so him having the last name McTavish already made me my ears perked up. I was like, oh my God, who's this player? And I had to learn everything about him. And I just like his game. I just like that he is really good on both sides of the puck. He's great offensively. I think he'll continue to get good offensively. His ceiling's probably like a 60, 70 point player who's just really good defensively. So, really like Mason McTavish. My favorite player on the Calgary Flames is Rasmus Andersson. We'll see how much longer he is a member of the Calgary Flames, but just everything that I saw at the time of the passing of Johnny Gaudreau, and just his involvement with the organization and the fans, and just his willingness to be involved with all of that, no matter how hard it was, I'm sure, on him. And I could see how hard it was on him. Just made me respect him so much. And just a big fan of Rasmus Andersson. I wish him nothing but the best. Moving on to the Oilers, it's pretty basic. It's Connor McDavid. And it's just because of how much fun he is to watch. He's the most fun player in the league to watch, and that is not, I'm not saying anything controversial there. He's just so fast, and he's probably the most talented, most skilled player to ever play the game. Wayne Gretzky is the best player to ever play the game, but in terms of just skill, I don't think it's too crazy to say that Connor McDavid is the best. So he's got to win a cup. I'm rooting for him to win a cup. I've been rooting for him to win a cup the past 3 years in a row here. Just get it done, and then I can stop worrying about it. Moving on to the LA Kings, my favorite player. This was so close. I almost picked Quinton Byfield. Big fan of Quinton Byfield, and I hope that he reaches the heights and his ceiling as a player. But my favorite player is Andrei Kuzmenko, the Kuzmeister. I was such a fan of his when he was on the Vancouver Canucks. He's just some player who just does not take himself too seriously. I really like that. I think that's a really good trait to have as a person. And he has fun with it, and really rooting for Kuzmenko in LA. Moving on to the Sharks, my favorite player is Jeff Skinner. By all accounts, he looks like a player who just knows how to have fun. He looks like a player that I would love to be friends with if I was a hockey player in a locker room. He's just like someone I'd love to hang out with. He just looks like incredibly nice. First of all, he looks like a kind person. He gets people laughing. It's hurt to see that he hasn't had a ton of success in terms of the points sheet or the stats. I hope that this coming season he has a lot more success. I really like Jeff Skinner. He's one of my favorite players in the game. Moving on to the Kraken, Vince Dunn. Vince Dunn, I've seen, he is someone who I think is unapologetically himself. Vince Dunn just knows who he is. I think that he's very passionate. When he fights, he just shows his full range of emotions. When he fights off the ice, I think he competed in like a Fortnite tournament one time. So like, good on him for just like, stepping out of maybe the hockey shell and just being like, I'm just gonna do what is fun. So yeah, Vince Dunn, I think he's a cool guy, and I think that he's unapologetically himself, like I said. Moving on to the Canucks, this is one of my favorite players in the whole league, maybe a top 5 favorite player, and someone I really, really hope can get back on track, because I wish nothing but the best for him. It's Elias Pettersson. Really sucks to see all the troubles he's gone through. I'm sure most of it is just mental. I know that he did have a bit of a knee injury. I'm hoping that is in the rearview mirror for him. Yeah, I'm really hoping Elias Pettersson get back to the player he was, because not only will Vancouver as a city will be happier, and of course Canucks management will be happier, but I know that it will allow Pettersson just like, I know that I'm sure he's been carrying this weight of just like maybe guilt of like not being able to live up to his contract as of yet. So yeah, really wishing the best for Pettersson. He's one of my favorite players. Moving to the Knights. This was an interesting one. There's a couple players I could have picked, but Adin Hill I think is my favorite. I think he's a very humble guy, down-to-earth guy from all I've seen from him. And just, yeah, I mean, he's Stanley Cup champion, but his charity work he's done, like, taking the cup to visit children in the hospital and just making those kids' days, it just really made me kind of really like him and his character. So yeah, Adin Hill, favorite Knights player. Moving on to the Blackhawks. This was so hard because Connor Bedard is Connor Bedard, and he is so exciting to watch. I just don't know enough about him yet. I think that once he matures and takes on more of a leadership role, I think he will become my favorite player. But as of right now, Alex Vlasic is my favorite player on the Chicago Blackhawks because of his ability. It's everything I've said before of why I would like a player. He's kind, from what I've seen from him. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He does those funny commercial and promo videos for Blackhawks. He's always involved in that. He's involved with his community. He's always doing stuff that behind the scenes, whether it's with maybe like the firefighters, like with Connor Murphy, does that kind of stuff, or just charity work. He's an exceptional defenseman. I think that his ability to defend and stop forwards from scoring is really good. So I really like that aspect. And then he's a leader as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he eventually becomes the captain of this team, because at only like 23 or 24 years old, he's this mature and he's able to lead. It's not easy. So all props to Alex Vlasic. He's my favorite player on my favorite team. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche, it's Nathan MacKinnon, and it's solely because of how passionate and driven he is to be the best version of himself. Like all the stuff about him, making sure that not only him, but the rest of his teammates put the right food in their bodies, like, chickpea pasta, and making sure that they can be the best teammates. That's what a leader does. It's not just about themselves. It's trying to make sure that the people around you can be the best versions of themselves. So I just love Nathan MacKinnon's drive. It is so infectious to see, and I'm sure that Colorado fans would agree that they would rather no one else in the league be their captain of their team. Moving on to the Dallas Stars is Jason Robertson. Jason Robertson is one of my favorite players, like Elias Pettersson, is like in the top 5 of my favorite players in the league. He's just, he seems like a really cool guy, just down to earth, chill, very, can have fun with it. He's just very smiley too. That's kind of infectious. He's got a great smile. So yeah, I think Jason Robertson is a cool guy, and someone that, I know the trade rumors are there, right? And if he ends up being traded, I hope to God that the Chicago Blackhawks are the team that he is traded to, because he might become my favorite player on the Chicago Blackhawks, because I just really like Jason Robertson. I think he's a really cool dude. Moving on to the Minnesota Wild, this is a guy that is super underrated, and it just occurred to me that that's another aspect of why I would like a player. If they're underrated, if they're not being appreciated enough by their fan base. So this is Matt Boldy. Matt Boldy, one of my favorite players in the league, someone that I love taking in fantasy, just a sneaky pick. Yeah, Matt Boldy is someone who I think definitely deserves more love, more appreciation, because he's so young, and yet his ability to drive play with kind of an offensive group that isn't that impressive in Minnesota yet. I know there's a lot of prospects that are coming up, so it'll eventually be good with also the cap space they're going to have. But yeah, Matt Boldy, favorite Wild player. Moving on to the Nashville Predators. Nashville Predators, it's Steven Stamkos. It's just a player I've liked for a very long time. If he was still in the Lightning, he'd probably be my favorite Lightning player. I just love Steven Stamkos as a dude. He's just really, I think he's very, humble. He's one of the best players of all time, and yet he is just a very humble person and is a leader, and is just someone who, whether they go through a loss or a win, they're a good winner and a good loser. So I really respect Steven Stamkos, and I hope he has a better year this upcoming season. Moving on to the St. Louis Blues. This is a player that I love. I for some reason, his name has been in trade rumors. I don't get it. But I don't think the Blues value him enough. I don't know. Maybe it's Doug Armstrong or what. But it's Jordan Kyrou. He wears his heart on his sleeve. When I saw that video of where he breaks down crying because he thinks that the players were booing him or they didn't think he was doing well enough, that just broke my heart. I wish nothing but the best for Kyrou. I think, yeah, again, like he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's an honest person. He plays his game. He's good defensively, and he's even better offensively. So he's just a really honest player, and I really respect that about him. Moving on to the Utah Mammoth, my favorite player has to be Clayton Keller. He's someone who is definitely one of my, not just my favorite player on the Mammoth, but one of my favorite players in the game today, because he has everything that I like about a player. Leader, undervalued, not respected enough. He is able to drive play, is responsible defensively, just does everything right. Clayton Keller, and it's so hard also, like during all the Arizona years, having to be the spokesperson, put himself out there and try to answer for stuff that wasn't his responsibility, which is all the off-ice stuff with the management and all that, and the ownership. Oh my God. So I felt bad for Clayton Keller during that time, and I'm just so glad that he's been able to stick with it. Some players, maybe they're like, you know what, I'm jumping ship. I'm leaving this tire fire of an organization. But he stays with it, and it was never the GM's fault or anything like that. It was always ownership. So he sticks with it. Now he's captain there in Utah. Yeah, super, super happy to see that, and I love Clayton Keller as a player. Winnipeg Jets, it's pretty easy. I'm a Blackhawks fan. It's Jonathan Toews. I like a lot of the players on the Jets. I like Hellebuck. Love Kyle Connor. I really like their captain, Lowry. Really like him as a person. Really respect him. He'd probably be it if Jonathan Toews was not a member of this organization. How can I not have him? Jonathan Toews is one of my favorite players of all time. Maybe my second favorite player of all time. And now he joins the Jets. So I'm so happy to see him back. And I wish him nothing but the best. I hope that he has a good season here. Great to see him get a little bit of a payday. He definitely got paid probably more than what I expected him to get paid. So yeah, it's always a good time if Jonathan Toews is in the NHL. Moving on to the Eastern Conference now. So we're halfway through. Hopefully I'm going a little bit faster than some other videos. In the Boston Bruins, my favorite player is David Pastrnak. David Pastrnak is a player that is elite, one of the superstars of this league, and is also someone who's just, at least in my opinion, I think he's a down-to-earth family man kind of guy. And I just love the commercials he makes. He's someone who just, he's not someone who's just so stoic and kind of, just kind of a normal, maybe that hockey personality that we've come to know, which is like, it doesn't show a lot of personality. David Pastrnak is full of personality, so I love that for him. Favorite Bruins player for sure. Sabres, favorite players, Rasmus Dahlin. I like Rasmus Dahlin a lot because he's a lot like Clayton Keller. He is someone who could have maybe jumped ship, right? Buffalo Sabres, not the best organization, not the most success, but it takes a true captain, a true leader to be like, no, we're going to ride this out, and I'm going to make sure I'm here to see it through. So yeah, it's got to be such an admirable trait and something that Sabres fans can like. I do not blame Jack Eichel for leaving Buffalo, and I do not blame him for wanting to, be in control of his own body and surgery that he deserved to have. But I still admire Rasmus Dahlin for being like, no, 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 I'm going to see it through to the end. I'm going to be like, I'm going to make sure that I am at the front of changing this team's direction around. So yeah, favorite Sabres player for sure. Favorite Red Wings player? It's Patrick Kane. I love Lucas Raymond, love Moritz Seider, but it's Patrick Kane. He's my childhood. He's one of the biggest reasons why I cover the NHL today. It's why I even have a channel. Like, Patrick Kane was one of my favorite players growing up. He's one of my favorite players in the game today. Yeah. And it's, although it hurt seeing him go to Detroit, a longtime rival, the Blackhawks, all I really wish is happiness for him. It was awesome to see him reunite with Alex DeBrincat. That was super, super cool. So yeah, Patrick Kane is a legend. Moving on to the Panthers, this one's going to be super brief. I've already said it before, is Alexander Barkov. He is the absolute staple of a defensively, like he's the defensive center. He's the next Patrice Bergeron, and he is his own Alexander Barkov. Just everything I admire about a player is wrapped up into one. Barkov is my favorite non-Blackhawk player. Moving on to the Ottawa Senators, Linus Ullmark. I really like him. I think that he's just someone who just does what he needs to do. He comes in and, whether it's the Boston Bruins or it's the Buffalo Sabres or now the Ottawa Senators, he just is who he is. Or Team Sweden, right? He's just a really good goalie, top 10 goaltender for sure in the entire league. He's just a respectable goalie. He's not the absolute best, but I'm so glad he's got a Vezina to his name. That's just so cool to see. So, Ullmark, favorite Ottawa Senator. Montreal Canadiens. This one is a bit different. My favorite player on the Montreal Canadiens is Kirby Dach. And I take this player and this situation really seriously because he was my favorite player on his short time with the Chicago Blackhawks. I really thought that he was going to be part of, at the time, I thought he was going to be, a top 6 player for the Hawks. It didn't work out, and it's largely due to his injuries. It's really sad to see that his career will probably be really short because of his injury history. From what I've seen, he's I don't know him off, behind the scenes, but any stuff to the media, his statements to the media or to the fans, he's been like super brave and just putting on a brave face and just acknowledging that, yeah, injuries happen. And so my prayers for him is that he is able to move past all these injuries and somehow turn around and become a top 6 center for the Montreal Canadiens or any team. Maybe he leaves the Canadiens and joins another team, but I just wish him so much success. If his if his career is cut short, and I wish him success maybe in like a development role or something eventually. But Kirby Dach, love the player, and I love the guy even more. Favorite Montreal Canadian. Moving on to the Lightning, the Tampa Bay Lightning, it's Jake Guentzel, and it's because of he impresses me so much in his ability to, when it matters most, when the lights are brightest in the playoffs, he is Mr. Clutch. Maybe like, him and Mikko Rantanen are like the staples of, like, obviously Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but I'm talking not the absolute superstars of the league. When it comes to Rantanen and Jake Guentzel, they are like the poster children of performing when it matters most. So love that about Jake Guentzel. Moving on to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Last player before we go into the Metropolitan Division. That's the last division we'll cover. The Toronto Maple Leafs, it's Max Domi. I loved him when he was a Chicago Blackhawk. The passion and energy he brings is the reason I like him so much. This is something I've never discussed before, but he's also type 1 diabetic, and I myself am a type 1 diabetic, and so seeing that as like representation is just kind of really cool. Seeing someone who has that, they have that, I don't know if you call it disease or disability. Uh, they have that the same as me, and for them to be a professional hockey player in the best hockey league on the planet is just really cool to see, and it kind of inspires me. So yeah, I love Max Domi. Moving on to the Carolina Hurricanes. My favorite player, if it weren't for Sebastian Aho, it would be Jacob Slavin. Love Jacob Slavin, but it is Sebastian Aho. Everything that Sebastian Aho does screams leader and just inspiration and role model. It is someone that just isn't, he's not always so flashy, but he leads by example. And I just love that. He's someone that is young, but just is mature beyond his years, and he knows how to lead this team. He leads by example. Every game he shows why he is the number one center on this team. It just impresses me so much. Yeah, I love Aho. Probably a top 10 favorite player in the whole league for me. Moving on to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Adam Fantilli has really grown on me, but he just misses it. It's actually Elvis Merzlikins. I know that he, as a player, is not the most impressive these days, but as a person, he impresses me. Just seeing all that tragedy with his best friend, one of his best friends, when he passed away. The other goalie in their organization, seeing him pass away, and then him talking about how much that affected him, and then using that to fuel him going forward. I can't imagine the strength that requires to not only just get out of bed, but also go and be a professional goalie in the NHL. So that amount of strength just inspires me, and yeah, he's my favorite Blue Jacket for sure. Moving on to the New Jersey Devils, it's Nico Hischier. You can see, I've already talked about it, obviously, but like if you're like a defensive center, I think that you have a really good chance of being my favorite player on that team that you were part of. So Nico Hischier, one of the best defensive centers in the game today, and someone like Barkov, like Aho, like Linus Ullmark. They're all players that, there's just a bunch more on this list, that just they lead by example. They don't go out there and just talk a big game. They don't talk it, they do it. So Nico Hischier, I hope that less injuries are in his future, because that's the one thing that keeps him from like truly elite, I think, and being recognized as like one of the best players in the game. So yeah, Nico Hischier, love the guy. Last 5 players here at New York Islanders. My favorite player, it's Matthew Schaefer. How could it not be? After seeing how mature he is at such a young age, 18 years old, having to go through the tragedy of not only losing his ballet mother, but losing his own mother as well. That's such a tragic thing to happen at any age of your life, but then to happen at such a young age. He's robbed of, having his mother around. But just like he said on the draft floor, I know that she's looking above, looking down at him from above. So all props to Matthew Schaefer, that strength and that courage. And then also, he's just like a really fun kid. He's a really funny kid. So he's mature. He has unbelievable strength. He's funny. And then also his charitable work is unbelievable. He's like one of my favorite players like in the game right now, because of and he hasn't played a single NHL game. So because of it, like he's turning the Islanders around, and turning not around, but like maybe the Islanders become one of my favorite teams, because if he is the identity of the New York Islanders, then that's a team that I want to follow for sure. Moving on to the New York Rangers, Will Queel. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but I might not be. Will Queel has really shown, not only to me, but to a bunch of people around the league, that he is a player to watch. His style of like just never giving up. Maybe he doesn't have the most skill in the world, but his tenacity, his compete level, and his skill, I think he's a top 6 player. And so the Rangers absolutely need that right now because their core is older for sure. So Gabe Perreault and Will Queel, and then hopefully Alexis Lafreniere will be part of that next core for them. Moving on to the Philadelphia Flyers, it's Travis Konechny. I know that he's a bit of a, if you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, you probably hate Travis Konechny, not only because he is very, very good and skilled, but he's got a snarl to him. But that's what I love about him. I love Travis Konechny because of the grit that he brings and the bite that he brings. He's a player that will score on you and then go in your face about it. He drives, the way he drives his line. He is just so impressive to me. I've been a big fan of Travis Konechny for a long time now. The Pittsburgh Penguins, second to last team we're covering here. There's so many players that are very, very likable. Letang and Carlson are my number 2 and number 3 favorite players on this team. So many players that have so much history with this team and just so much legendary status and legacy that will live on. But that's why number 1 is Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is my favorite player, and one of the favorite players. It's so funny. I did not like him growing up because I was just a Sidney Crosby hater, and I shouldn't have been because he is such a legend. I don't know. I guess I was like, I wanted to be different. I was like, oh yeah, no. I understood that he was amazing, but I was like, he's talked about too much, No, he was talked about not enough probably because he is one of the best players of all time. When it's all said and done, he will be a top 3 forward ever. I think that, I truly do. And I think that he will be maybe not top 3, top 5, right? Because you can't forget McDavid. Top 5 forward and probably like top 7 player of all time. So it's so impressive what Sidney Crosby's been able to do, and he has defined a generation. He's a god amongst men because he also behind the scenes is like one of the nicest guys apparently that you'll ever meet. He is so charitable. He is so kind. He is an absolute legend. And then moving on to the Washington Capitals, my favorite player is Dylan Strome. The last player I'll be talking about today, my favorite player on the Capitals is Dylan Strome because I just loved him on with his time with the Hawks, and I'm just so happy that he's been able to have just really find his identity as a player with the Washington Capitals. I actually met him. He signed my jersey when he was a Blackhawk, and he was so kind. He took his time with the fans. There was like 20 fans. He ended up giving a signature to that night, and there was another night that I was there. I didn't get another signature from him, obviously, but he did the exact same thing. He took his time, and it's always great seeing that when a player can recognize that the reason that the NHL and their team is so big is because of the fans that come and show up. So when a player can step back and realize that, they're a winner in my books. But yeah, that's my favorite player from every single team in the National Hockey League. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite players are. There's not really any disagreeing, I guess. It's just what your opinion is and what your favorite players are. So let me know in the comments, maybe any funny stories or cool stories that you have about maybe any encounters with these players. I'd love to hear about them. Love to hear in the comments what you guys have to say about that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. A bit of a long one, hopefully a little bit quicker with each team. I'm trying to work on that. These 32 team videos, I'm trying to get a little bit better at going through each one a little bit quicker. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you've stayed with it, I really appreciate all of you. If you like the video, please consider subscribing. That would mean really so much to me. And I will see you guys in the next video.